All right, fourth grade, it is your last week before leap. All right, today we're going to talk about geography. Tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit about history, then government, then economics. All right, but today we're going to talk about geography. Now remember, geography talks about what the land is like. All right, landforms, bodies of water, things like that. Now our key points we're going to need to know are types of maps, our continents and our oceans, and important landforms and bodies of water in the United States. Okay? So we know some of our landforms and bodies of water like mountains, peninsulas, lakes, rivers. Now we're going to learn certain particular ones in the United States, okay? So first let's go over types of maps. Physical maps showing us rivers and mountains. Political maps showing us borders and cities. And population maps showing us where people live. In this map, we see the darker areas show us where more people live. More people live on the coast, the East Coast, and the West Coast. Not so much in this area, okay? Now, we also have a different type of map. I'm going to spend a little more time on this one. Product and economic maps, all right? Those are two names for the same type of map. It basically shows you what natural resources are in an area or what economic activities, how people make money in an area, all right? So this one shows that you can find coal, natural gas, gold, iron, and shows you where in the world you can find those natural resources, okay? You might see product maps or economic maps for those types of maps, all right? Be looking out for both of those titles. Now, types of landforms and bodies of water. Again, you already know what a canyon is. You already know what a mountain range is. You already know what an island and a peninsula is. Now you're going to learn some famous ones in the United States, okay? So, first, your important rivers. The Mississippi, you got to know that one, runs north and south. Ohio shoots off to the east. Missouri shoots off over to the west. And the Rio Grande, all right? Rio Grande means big river in Spanish, okay? We oftentimes say Rio Grande, all right? But in Spanish, it's Rio Grande. Remember that the river that has the Spanish name is in between the United States and Mexico, all right? Those are your important rivers. Only four. All right, important landforms and bodies of water, okay? First, we're going to talk about the Great Salt Lake, okay? Now, the Salt Lake is interesting because most lakes, like the Great Lakes, are freshwater. That means you can water plants with them and you can drink the water. Not the Salt Lake, because you may have guessed, it's salt water, just like the oceans, okay? A large saltwater lake, pretty unique. And the interesting about saltwater is things float better on saltwater. So there's all these pictures of people floating on the Great Salt Lake, all right? You can look that up. Now, next body of water is the Gulf of Mexico down here. Now, the Gulf of Mexico is mostly famous for oil drilling, okay? A lot of oil drilling. It's one of the main natural resources in the Gulf of Mexico, okay? As well as fishing, but mostly oil, okay? Now, we also have the Great Lakes, all right? Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake Michigan. Don't forget Lake Erie and Ontario over here. Now, the Great Lakes are called the Great Lakes because they are so huge you can see them from space, okay? Here are the Great Lakes from space. Now, they're also so huge that the shores of them almost looks like the beach to an ocean. So much so that when I got there in Chicago and I saw the Lake Michigan, it looked like an ocean, and I saw the beach. I just had to build a sandcastle, okay? And if I'm going to show you the Great Lakes sandcastle, I better show you my Gulf of Mexico sandcastle I built down here. Okay? Now, one more to cover. The Grand Canyon. We have our Salt Lake up in the northwest. We have our Grand Canyon in the southwest. Okay? Grand Canyon, formed over time by a river that carved this deep canyon in the rock. Okay? Very beautiful, very grand. It is the Grand Canyon. All right. Notice it is in the southwest United States. All right. Almost done. We only got two more things to cover. We got the Rocky Mountains over in the west. We got the Appalachian Mountains over in the east. Okay. And that's going to be most of the important landforms that you need to know in the United States. Okay. Remember, you have your Great Salt Lake right here, Grand Canyon right here, your Great Lakes over here, Gulf of Mexico right here, and then your Appalachian and Rocky Mountains. All right? Now, also when we've talked about geography, we've also talked about how people change the land. They clear land and drain swamps so they can make room for farming and homes. They mine minerals out of the ground like iron and gold that they can use. And they use irrigation where they make ditches, where they lead water to their crops. Okay, so when you're thinking about the land and geography, I also want you to be thinking about how people change the land. Okay, All right, now for the rest of class, you're going to have a PowerPoint that quizzes you and has some different questions for you to answer as a class. And you also have some flashcards that you can practice with, okay? All right, good luck.